Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and notes mashup video today, starting with Anthony Joshua, Robert Garcia. Garcia giving some comments about Anthony Joshua being mentally defeated later in the fight against Oleksandr Uysk in the rematch in Saudi Arabia, which he lost by a split decision. And you can see here on screen, so this is the outlet that has published these comments, and I don't want to pronounce the name because I will butcher it, but you can see this here. You can go find the full article at your leisure. But Garcia, who was brought in for this specific fight to help make Anthony Joshua a bit more aggressive, he says Joshua was already mentally beaten actually from round 10 or 11. Round 10 was very big for Usyk. That changed the whole fight, and mentally we were already beaten, but there was still the luck that he connected a good hit or something, because he actually hits very hard, Anthony, and one punch can change the fight. That's what we were waiting to see, if a blow or something, because it was already dominated. And then Robert Garcia defines that round 10 as the point at which the fight was totally broken in favour of Usyk. The fight was going well, but round 10 changed the fight. The last 3 rounds are the ones that changed the fight. In the 9, we were about to win, even by knockout perhaps. Until round 9, we were winning the fight as the judges did. It was decided in the last rounds. Usyk is a great fighting champion with a tremendous heart. He knew how to finish strong, as champions do. Going on to say, in this fight, I think was mentally stronger. He was stronger, being about to be knocked out instead of bending. Instead of his mind falling, he got up. And in some other comments regarding the fight in another article, he goes on to say he would have liked to have seen Joshua use the jab a bit more, distance, yada, yada, yada. Is what it is. Actually, the first fight and the second fight, the endings in particular, and other rounds, it looked very familiar. Will Robert Garcia be continuing with Anthony Joshua, saying that Joshua was mentally defeated in there? I mean, maybe that's not actually that controversial, given that Joshua kind of wilted, but was that also partially from the gas tank too? But Usyk did bounce back in round 10, and ultimately winning those later rounds did secure him the fight. Well, at least on 2 judges' scorecards. The WBC is allowing Tyson Fury a further week to clarify his status and whether he will continue fighting, continue to hold the WBC title, or in fact retire. And this comes as a result of a Fury family member having been murdered at the hands of an assailant by a knife. So the WBC says in its statement on its website, the World Boxing Council acknowledges the tragedy which happened in the Fury family, and in respect of their grief has decided to extend 1 week until Friday, September 2nd, the official decision of Tyson Fury regarding his status as heavyweight champion. Although Sky Sports has actually said in a story on its website that Fury has instructed his promotional team to inform the WBC that he intends to resume his boxing career. That is not backed up by a quote, but we will have to sort of see. But there is a little bit more in the story we'll quickly touch on. Alexander Krasjuk of K2, who promotes Usyk, he says that the fight is in the making. And then you have Frank Warren saying both fighters want it. I'm confident we can make it happen and crown Tyson Fury as the undisputed champion of the world. It will be the biggest heavyweight fight in my time in boxing. Bob Arum, he's also weighed in on the situation, saying we're fielding offers right now from sites that want to do the fight. Remembering that Tyson Fury had said, make some offers within a week to my lawyer. I would like to sort of see what's there. And basically, he's going to make decisions from there. At least that's what he said in a public statement via his social media. Arum continues, though, saying, and we'll give it another week or so, get together with both sides and get it put together. There's no question that this is the fight. The only one that makes sense in the heavyweight division. You have 2 outstanding fighters, neither of whom have ever lost. Both of them collectively own all the belts. What better can it be? Nobody would say that if we made the Fury-Usyk fight, that either of them should be fighting somebody else. Nobody would say that. Everybody would say that it's the best fight for either guy. And it is. It really is. And Arum continues, I consider myself a good friend of Usyk. I've been around Usyk for years since we signed Lomachenko. Usyk and I have a lot of laughs together. I've been with him a lot. So yeah, I don't think it will be difficult putting it together. What we're waiting for is fielding offers from various sites on the live gate. And he does expect, that it goes on to say that he expects organisers from Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Middle East to be among those willing to pay big bucks to bring Fury Usyk overseas. Well, I guess we'll see in all that. Hopefully this fight does get done, and that Fury, with his money demands, they come down to something that can get the fight made, and that someone makes an offer big enough for the site to make sure that both guys are happy enough to get it on, and we can have a first undisputed fight in a generation, because certainly it's overdue. The likes of Wilder and Joshua, they had their opportunity at different points a few years ago, couldn't get it done. I hope these guys do, because otherwise we will remember this as a missed opportunity. It's kind of like a magical unicorn at this point. Meanwhile, ESPN has promoted Oleksandr Uysk up a couple of spots in its pound-for-pound rankings, pushing him to number 4 and past Tyson Fury and Canelo Alvarez, as reported by ESPN's reporter Mike Coppinger. I mean, make of that what you will. I think there will be some people saying, well, what does that really mean? Does that mean he can beat Fury? Also, does Tyson Fury, because he's heavyweight and has been that his whole career, is he disadvantaged in these lists? And often heavyweights are. But number 4, I mean, it's a list, it's subjective, make of it what you will. And a former foe of Oleksandr Uysk, Michael Hunter, believes that Usyk can do well in a fight with Tyson Fury, and because he is an athlete that can make adjustments. So there is a couple of paragraphs here that talk about the size and weight and, the adjustments that would be needed. It didn't really quite flow, and I couldn't make sense of it really, so I'll just go to this last one. I think Usyk would need to make a couple of adjustments, but I don't think the weight will be as much of a difference as people think. That's just my opinion. He's an endurance athlete, he's going to move a lot. It's a styles make fights thing. A little different tactics to Usyk, Anthony Joshua. I think it would be an interesting fight, but I'm pretty sure that Usyk would do very well. Jared Anderson said he's ready for much tougher tests, and says actually he could take on the winner of Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz Jr., saying, I would gladly take the winner of that fight. I would gladly take it. And on who he thinks is going to win that fight, he says Andy, because of age and speed. I swear I love Ortiz to death, but if his age was on his side, I would think Ortiz would win. Viktor Vykhryst has made a winning return. The prospect based out of Germany. He is Ukrainian, but fights for EC Boxing in Germany for the most part. He's taken a decision over Kevin Johnson. So here's a couple of snaps from the fight. So this was a points decision, and Viktor Vykhryst advances to 10-0 as a result. Some may remember him on a couple of different Fury Wilder undercards, an especially exciting fight against Iago Kaladze, where both guys were dropped in that fight. It does sort of seem to be EC Boxing is using Kevin Johnson on the treadmill at the moment, just recycling him. A couple of recent fights against Igor Shevedutsky in their gym. That was only, a week or two ago. So make of that what you will. And top 200 heavyweight Hasim Rahman, who's gained some fame and notoriety as a result of his involvement in a cancelled promotion with Jake Paul. He's been announced to fight on a DAZN card. He'll be facing Vitor Belfort. That will be October the 15th. So I guess he's managed to sort of parlay that sort of little bit of fame that he's gathered from being involved with Jake Paul and the shenanigans, the card being cancelled, all that sort of stuff, into a fight. And actually, Hasim Rahman, record of 12-1, coming off a loss to James Mackenzie Morrison, otherwise known as Kinsey Morrison. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.